Happy Friday, everybody. It is chamber check-in time. And today I have the director for the Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy with us today. It's Alejandra Serno Rios. Hi, Alejandra.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Folks may not know what it is that you do, and folks may not know what the kind of the parent organization is for the Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy. So I'm excited today for you to educate me and the listeners today on what it is that you all do and how you impact the community. But first, before we get to you and the ICFP, I get to thank our series sponsor for these check-ins, Alejandra, and it's Delta Dental of Idaho. And Delta Dental of Idaho has been providing businesses and citizens of Idaho the best in class dental insurance benefits for over 50 years. And with that, I'm going to share a fun factoid from their Tooth Truth series. Here we go.
Did you know that 20% of patients wear braces between the ages of 20 and 60? Looking good, adult peeps.
I remember braces when I was in high school, and all three of my kids are like in braces right now.
I had braces when I was a kid, so super important.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Alejandra, let me start off with starting off with Jannus. Now, Jannus is a not-for-profit health and human services organization that helps individuals, families, and communities in transition from infancy to healthy childhood, from illness to health, from refugee to working citizen, and from isolation to community. Jannus is changing lives with mission-driven, highly skilled professional staff, caring and committed volunteers, and a portfolio of more than 20 diverse programs and services that promote community health, advance public policy, and create economic opportunity. And today we get to feature you and one of those 20 programs with the Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy. So I love these check-ins to learn about our members' programs and services. But more importantly, I like to learn about the people as well and share their kind of history of work and how they land in their industry. So, Alejandra, why don't we just start out with you? Tell us a little bit about your work history and how you landed in the Center for Fiscal Policy.
Thanks, Paul. I've enjoyed connecting with people and really enjoy the opportunity to be able to tell you about Jannus and the center and myself. So I arrived to Boise just by way of actually, Boise, one of the great aspects of Boise's economy, my spouse got a job at Micron. So that's what brought us out to Boise about 7 years ago. Okay. And at the time, I had just completed a graduate education in public policy and social work at the University of Texas. So looking around the environment and places where I could put my public policy background to use, at Jannus, I found a couple of potential organizations where I could do that. So the organization where I'm now director, the Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy, and our sibling program at Jannus, Idaho Voices for Children. So as long as I've been in Idaho, I've worked for one or both. And that's really given me an opportunity to use my background to promote policies that support kids and families, that support long-term economic growth for our businesses and our communities here. So yeah, that's really kind of, and that's where I am today. After a few years, the opportunity opened up to be, in the director in this role. So I've really enjoyed it.
I love it. I know Laura Necochea was in your role prior, and now she's helping as an elected official. So that's great. Treat me as someone who knows nothing about the Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy. Give me the description of the mission and vision of the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. The Center for Fiscal Policy was founded about 11 years ago. And really, it was founded because there wasn't an independent organization that regularly provided information about fiscal policy questions in our state. So if you're familiar with our legislature, you know that they are a part-time legislature, folks who have everyday jobs. And they don't have any professional staff that, that does their policy research or that, helps them answer some of the specific district questions. So there really is a big space for organizations to fill in that gap. So that's kind of where we at the center fill in. When there's a really important tax bill, for example, in the legislature, we kind of get to work right away on analyzing the bill and, more importantly, understanding the impacts to different families and different communities and businesses in Idaho as well, because those are very big questions, right? And they have implications for many years down the road. Often they have implications for how much we can invest in different important long-term economic investments, for example, K through 12, transportation. There have been some recent movements around affordable housing. All of those issues are super important to, our economy and our families here.
And I imagine property taxes, one of those things as well that you help analyze and research.
That's right. So last year, in the past few years, legislators and policymakers have been, and local governments, everyday citizens who are kind of feeling that in their own, budget, property taxes have increased. So yeah, we're there to provide policy options. We're there to lift up some options that would work better for the vast majority of Idahoans. When it comes to property taxes, obviously there has to be, some kind of change in how we do that. So we've definitely seen quite a few property tax bills come through the last couple of years.
Wow. How large is your team that's helping dissect these policy and tax bills?
We are currently a team of 5 folks. So myself and 2 policy analysts and associates, actually 3, I'm sorry. And we have a communications person who helps us amplify our work. So make sure that it gets into the hands of not only policymakers, but like everyday people. And property tax is a really good example. A part of our mission is to make sure that we provide information at no cost about, the impacts of these different policies that are very important. So we try to get our work out there through social media, traditional media, our website, so those are all places you can go to just access what we've produced, analysis not only on tax and budget, but we've looked very closely at housing in the past couple of years. We've also looked at some topics in the criminal justice system and just other varied areas as well.
You have a very robust website and it has a lot of information. And what I like looking at was there was a tab that says report and analysis. And under that report and analysis was a bunch of news articles about your criminal justice, tax and revenue, economic security, education, and housing. And I really loved how I could just dive into one thing and learn more about the subject.
Thank you. Yeah, we try to make it accessible to folks if they're looking to dive deep into one particular topic area, or if they kind of want to get a feel for the different important policy topics that are coming up. So, and what I can tell you is that we have a lot of good work also coming up. So there's, for example, a ballot initiative question that is expected to appear. So we do have plans to provide information again about what are the impacts of that type of ballot proposal, because that's one of those where everyday people can, vote on these policies in some cases directly. So it's very exciting, and honestly, I'm honored to be able to do this work, to contribute to the overall discourse about really important choices that we have in the state.
Well, you always wonder where to get the information, and you're a great hub for that information. Tell us more about how we can support this center and stay informed.
Yes, well, I would say our website is the first stop if you want to learn more about our work, if you want to access the information we provide and the perspective around different policies. So there we have the banner at the bottom, idahofiscal.org. And I would suggest signing up for our newsletter, which you can easily do also from our homepage. The other thing you can do is explore ways to support the center in other ways. So we have a great community of Idaho-based donors and supporters who, really believe in our mission. And if you want to join that community, you can as well. And other than that, I would follow our social media accounts, because that's where we publish not only our, in-depth reports, but We do quick takes and threads around, what to look for, what's important as well. And yeah, and then watch for us in the paper occasionally when we produce an analysis. Again, we always like to make it available as widely as possible.
Tell me a little bit about your board of directors. You have some really good folks that are involved with helping steering your ship.
Yeah, so we have an advisory board for the Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy, and it's a great group of folks who are looking to, they're all, I would say everybody's a policy wonk because we all talk about policies all day, but they're also folks who have, experience in different, in different industries, some in business, some in state government, some in local government, some in higher education, just a good collection of folks who keep us, in the know about like what people are talking about and thinking about, provide their perspective. And it's just a really great sounding board, both ways to understand kind of like what's going on in our state.
When I was looking through your website, I ran across a video, and it was probably a 1.5-minute video that really dived in to the mission and vision of the Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy. So I would recommend anybody who's listening that wants to learn more, go to idahofiscal.org, look at their About Us page, and then there's a fun video there that you can learn about why it's important and why the Idaho Fiscal Center for Fiscal Policy is so important. Hey, is there any other upcoming events or news that you'd like to share while I have you here today?
I don't think we have any events on tap. We do usually do an event in the spring that's called the ICFP, or Center for Fiscal Policy Breakfast. And that's an event where you can, meet a lot of folks we work with, a lot of partners in the policy advocacy space, a lot of other types of leaders, the folks on our staff, the folks, in the organizations we work with. But that wouldn't be till the spring. So right now I would say stay tuned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have a really up-to-date newsroom. So I would say check that out. Dive into the information for all you policy wonks out there. I guess I can use that term.
You may.
There's some fun things to learn, as well as there's a school board trustee for the Boise School District election coming up in September. The chamber, with partnership with Idaho Ed News, is going to do a candidate forum, as well as our Boise Young Professionals have a 2-part or 3-part B voting series on how to learn about the roles and responsibilities of some of those elected positions. And then I think that there's a commissioner race as well in November, amongst many other races this November. But it's important to vote and be educated, and use Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy as a way to become more educated on some of those different tax policies.
Thanks so much, Paul. I really appreciate that.
It's all my pleasure. Thank you, Alejandra, for your commitment to the chamber and for being such a bright light in the Jannus world. I look forward to our next conversation.
Take care, Paul. See you later.
Bye.